Welcome back. Club 602 yelling and screaming. NFL Week 12. Sean, what's up?
Nothing much, baby. How's it going? How's it going?
It's good, man. You know, my Badgers decided they weren't going to fire their coach, so now wins are actually more important than losses. Knocked off ranked Illinois last night. I wish I could say it's a step in the right direction, but only time will tell. But NFL Sunday still matters for most teams, and I'm hyped for Week 12. We got some good matchups on the board.
We really do. We really do. It's going to be another fun week. Weird weather here in Phoenix. Has been raining for an entire week, so it's a little cooler, a little more
It's
chilly,
awful.
a little more of football weather out here in the desert. Obviously, our team plays in a dome, so it doesn't really affect the game. But just everybody kind of in a little bit cooler, more fall kind of wintry mood. So it's a pretty good time to just kind of sit with your friends, grab a beer, have some chili or some soup, and watch the game. So pretty excited for this week.
Uh, we had a Thursday night game that didn't go exactly how a lot of people expected it. The Houston Texans knock off the Buffalo Bills 23-19. If you look at the box score for this game, it wouldn't lead you to believe that this game was as close as it was. Really kind of sloggy second half. Obviously, the big story here is the amount of sacks, the amount of times Josh Allen went down. What do you have on the Bills Texans here in what was really a weird game?
I honestly don't know what's going on with the Bills. I think that Josh Allen is doing too much. Too much scrambling around in the backfield unnecessarily. Throw the ball away, get to the next play. What are you trying to do here? Like, I get it. We know Josh Allen is an MVP caliber quarterback every time he steps out on the field. But that doesn't mean the goal of every game is for you to try to force yourself to be the impact player on every single play. It starts to feel like, again, an unpolished football team is what we've seen in the losses from the Bills. When they play well, when they play their game, when Allen is clicking, when the run game is doing what it needs to do, they're one of the most unstoppable teams in the NFL. Week before, they put up 44 points like it was no big deal on a good Bucks team. This week, I don't know what happened, but Houston's defense decided it was going to be that old school Houston defense, the one that actually got them to the playoffs on a number of seasons. You had the 8 sacks, you also had the 2 picks, and we can talk all day about how you're not the biggest CJ Stroud fan, and Davis Mills is
Man, I
doing what
haven't
he needs
said
to
a
do.
word about Stroud yet. You
Yeah,
got to at
and
least
all
give a shit
I
about the
said,
man.
I said you're not his biggest fan. That's all I said. I did not say anything more than that, but your energy speaks more volumes than mine did.
Yeah,
You may
I
not
hate
be his
CJ Stroud.
biggest fan per se, but and Davis Mills in the last few games has been a game manager. He's been able to keep his team on the field when
Man,
they needed
man,
to, and
let's like give
you know,
one point before you
you know, you
try
know.
to undermine all my points.
I'm not. My apologies. My apologies.
The Houston
I just
Texans were 3-5, and then
they
all
were
of a
3-5.
sudden, the second best Stanford Cardinal quarterback of all time comes back in. The Texans have won 3 straight games, and they are now right back behind the Colts. So, yes, I hate CJ Stroud. I think the Texans are better without CJ Stroud. I am going to tongue in cheek say that they are better with Davis Mills. But if they win another game, it stops being tongue in cheek for me. At some point here, CJ Stroud and his massive contract and his lack of performance is the story. I'm not sure we're there yet. But now, Sean, go ahead and trash me for hating CJ Stroud.
I'm not going to trash you at all. I actually was going to say a lot less about Stroud and a lot more about Mills. I mean, realistically, Davis Mills threw for less than 200 yards. It wasn't like he had this crazy game. He threw for 153 yards. That's all. We can relax here. The defense is what really stepped it up here against a powerhouse offense in the AFC. And so for me, when we look at what Stroud's performance has been versus what Mills' performance has been, it is inherently easier for a team to play well on offense or even just play mediocre on offense when the defense is dominating and really keeping the other team's offense off the field. And, having 100 yards rushing in any game is definitely going to help your team succeed. So, I mean, for a team to put up 253 yards of total offense or 261 yards of total offense, and really, really, really dominate on the defensive side of the ball, that's really what we're starting to see here from the Texans. We're starting to see a lot more on the defensive side than what we had seen before. And it takes a lot of pressure off your offense to have to be really good. Take into account, too, look at their schedule. All the teams that they lost to are above 500 teams who are potential NFL playoff teams. I mean, the worst team that they lost to, realistically, was the Jaguars, and they just beat the Jaguars, in the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, it's not. I look at the Texans and I say, all right, we're starting to see a little bit more of what we were expected to see from the Texans. Not necessarily to be a powerhouse team in the AFC, but for them to be more of a mid-tier team, and without the Colts coming in and looking like we got the second coming of Peyton Manning, I was expecting the Texans to be right there in that division. So,
Well, and realistically, at 6-5, they would have been if the Colts didn't jump out to the huge lead that they did in the division. But I want to talk about the other side of the ball. The Bills, well, not really the other side of the ball. The Bills' offense is really what's interesting me here. Thought experiment a little bit. Obviously, their team is constructed the way it is because of their personnel. But if you take Josh Allen off this team, forget this week. Let's look at the season as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I think this Bills team is very one-dimensional, really, really bad even. James Cook obviously goes for over 100 yards rushing in this game. Khalil Shakur finally gets involved, which I think might have had more to do with all the tight ends being hurt than anything else. But if you pull Josh Allen off this team and stick in a replacement level quarterback, take that MVP caliber, scrambling, rushing, usual accuracy off this team and plug in Davis Mills, this Bills team is an afterthought. They are awful on the offensive line. They are awful at wide receiver. James Cook is a monster. I can't take anything away from him. But how many NFL teams have we seen that have a 100-yard rusher and they're under 500 because they have no other pieces on offense? The defense is okay. I feel like they've actually improved as the season has gone on. Giving up 23 points to the Texans, I don't think is a huge blemish. They've had some other issues, but I think the defense is getting better, and I think the offense is getting significantly worse. 8 sacks is unacceptable for a unit. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. 8 sacks is insane.
Their defense has been very consistent. I mean, 23 points, the 32 against the Bucks. We know that they're a very strong offensive team, very tough team. But then 13, 21, 9, 24, 23, like they're really not giving up a ton of points. What really happens is their offense struggles in their losses. And so you can't you give up 23, but you only scored 20 on the Patriots. You give up 24, but you only score 14 on the Falcons. Like, what are we talking about here? You give up you give up 30 to the Dolphins. I don't know what the hell was going on there. And so their losses, though, their offense has not been very productive in those games. And it just speaks volumes to, honestly, the flash or fizzle of Josh Allen, and how that offense can be. If they can put up 40 points one week and 13 points the week before, and it's a lot of like back and forth. It's very, very good or very, very not so good.
It's Brett Favre.
It's Brett Favre. I've never been sold, honestly, on Josh Allen's ability to win in big games. And we've seen that throughout his career. He is a regular season stat patter. He's a guy who's going to give you somewhere around 40 touchdowns in a season in the air and on the ground. Might be your MVP every single year, him and Lamar battling it out. But I don't really care about any of that if you can't get me the wins in the playoffs to get me to the championship. Zero Super Bowl appearances is the only number that should matter to him.
I think at the end of the year, his stats will probably be there.
Of course. He's the
which,
Nikola Jokic.
my point is it covers a lot of sins, right? I think the way he's playing ball works against them sometimes. I mean, he's completing 70% of his passes, but he also throws some really boneheaded interceptions sometimes, including the one that closed the game out here. And I just don't think the front office has put enough around them. And I understand roster construction, and I understand money, and I understand they have injuries. And I can't believe where I was 2 weeks ago. I'm about to argue that Diggs would be an improvement for this team after trashing on Stephon Diggs. But they made the conscious choice to not sign a wide receiver. There's not a real wide receiver. I don't like Shakir. He had a huge game. Good for him. He runs good routes. He's not a one. Like, they went into this and they're like, Dalton Kincaid is our wide receiver 2. And they made that choice. And they made a choice not to invest in the offensive line. And we're seeing the dividends here, right? You still have your MVP caliber quarterback. James Cook is having maybe his best year of all time.
Definitely.
And you're 7-4. And 7-4 is not a bad record.
No.
But you have head-scratching losses to bad teams. And, oh, yeah, the Patriots are back. So 7-4 is bad when you're already 2.5 games back. Patriots win today, you're 3.5 games back. You're running out of time to win the division. This is an organization who has so much hubris about their home field advantage that they're building a $1 billion open air stadium in Buffalo. So what that tells me is that the road to the Super Bowl has to go through Buffalo for them to have any kind of advantage in the playoff. They're not going to have that.
I mean, they can't play in warmish weather at all. So it really doesn't matter. I mean, losing to Miami.
LA. I guess it's a dome, so it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, but they can't play in temperate. They can't play in temperate climates. They got to play in the cold. Like even in a dome, LA's dome is an open dome anyway, so it's like 70, 75 degrees ish. Obviously Houston also same deal. Like you're not really playing in inclement weather, but you're also not you're playing in comfort almost. I think they need to be in a cold climate for them to really get it going. I don't know what it is, but they just can't get it together in these moments. And their season closing out, you've got a Steelers team that's not the worst team, but they're a team that can win games. You've got the Patriots and the Eagles on the back half. Like it's not like you're going to have a cakewalk to close out the season. So they got a chance to lose out on a few games here at the end and really shoot themselves in the foot. They really have to get it together. And it's going to mean a lot more to them, I think, the second to last game of the season against the Eagles and that closeout game against the Jets than it will for that team, for the Eagles.
Well, and the Eagles might be done, right? I mean, they might have wrapped up Kevin Cobb at quarterback at that point. I wasn't super impressed with the Bills organizationally. Obviously, James Cook continues to cook. He's been a monster, man. He's been a lot of fun to watch.
He's been the one thing that we expected to really help boost them and get them to the next level. And now you're starting to see the other flaws that they missed, that they are getting exposed. And so they really need to get it together here. I think that their defense, you're not wrong. I think the defense has gotten better over the season. Definitely an improvement over last season, but still not to the point where they are in my opinion, a Super Bowl contender team. I think that they are an AFC Championship contender team, but they're not a Super Bowl contender team. There's too many teams there's too many other teams in NFL right now that feel more polished than the Bills do.
I think that the Bills fans, and I tried to get our resident Bill fan Josh to come on the show today to talk about how they're doing, because ultimately I think they're still a playoff team, right? But I think the fans are seeing some of those cracks, and like I think Haley Watch has started, man. I think that might be something to that.
Oh goodness! All right, I got one question for you, and this is me, really playing into the really, really terrible NFL critique that I'm seeing around the league. If you could swap two quarterbacks right now in Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, do you think that that the other would be successful on the other's team?
I think Josh Allen would be better on the Eagles than Hurts would be on the Bills. I think
I don't think so. I don't think so.
if you
I
strip away the offensive line for Hurts, I think he's in some trouble there. And that's essentially what you're doing by sticking him on the Bills. Like there's no offensive line. And I
I
think
think that
Josh
there's
Allen could
a
run the Eagles offense, not as well as Hurts, but in a meaningful way.
I think that there's an I think there's a leadership energy that they both have, but it's different coming from each guy. I think Josh Allen's mentality is I have to do so much to win. And I think Jalen Hurts' mentality is we will do what we need to do to win. And I think that there's a difference there in that aspect of leadership, especially coming down the stretch in games, where both of these quarterbacks could obviously throw for 300 plus yards. We've seen it. We've seen it obviously more from Allen than we've seen it from Hurts, but we've also seen significantly more success when it comes to small ball game uh, from Hurts than Allen. And so, what's more important for you? Is it throwing for 300 yards and having these crazy statistical lines, or is it a guy who understands that if it's if you're scrambling around in the backfield for 10, 15 yards, you might want to throw the ball away. You don't have to be a superhero in this moment. Sometimes you got to be the guy who just throws the ball away and keeps your team in the game in that moment. And I think that that's something that I don't see from Josh Allen, especially in big moments. I see the charisma, I see the poise. We've seen other NFL quarterbacks play with not so great wide receiver cores and still be successful. I mean, yes, we obviously saw Peyton Manning play with some really great wide receivers, but he also played with some stinkers. We've seen Donovan McNabb, who had been a very successful NFL quarterback, play with some not so great wide receivers and still be a successful NFL quarterback. And so, one of the knocks that we have for Josh Allen, obviously talking about his receiver core not being that great, but good quarterbacks make not so great receivers look good. The counter to that for me is just the vision and responsibility of a quarterback. And so I think that Jalen Hurts would be just as successful in the Bills organization, given he has the same tools and same play calling ability that we're seeing from Josh Allen. See Josh Allen do a lot of scrambling for no reason a lot of the times. And I think that Hurts might calm those things down. And they also might do some different things with their scheme on offense as far as their offensive line to kind of shift that responsibility. So where your quarterback, your pocket's a little bit shifted, but not necessarily as open as it is with what happens with Allen. So I think that I think there's a leadership quality that is a little bit of an intangible that I'm seeing where it's like we'll do everything we need to do to win, and not I have to put all the world on my shoulders. And I think that that's the difference. I think in Philly, Josh Allen might be a stat patter. He might look phenomenal, but really, when it comes down to it, they don't give a shit at all about you throwing for 300 yards if your team still loses. They don't give a shit at all if you get sacked 8 times and your team loses. Philly's a team that wants to win, and they'll do it whatever way it takes.
I think while you're talking about quarterbacks make bad receivers look good, is Josh Allen just a big Phillip Rivers?
I think he is. No, 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 no. He's got way more mobility than Philip Rivers.
Well,
Way more mobility than
but he's
Philip
big, right? If
Rivers.
Phillip Rivers was a
He's
little bit
big.
bigger, he'd try to run too.
I don't know. I think that San Diego lifestyle was just a little bit more casual for him. I think Rivers was out there just trying to figure out when he was going to have his next kid on the field, and staying 8-8 and mediocre, or 8-9, or just above 500, so that your team is always challenging for a playoff spot but never quite getting there, is the hallmark of a premier NFL quarterback. Because I don't need to be Josh Allen if I could be Philip Rivers. I'll have a really long career of just being slightly above mediocre and always having a what if asterisk next to it. Whereas Josh Allen's always in the spotlight. I mean, Philip Rivers is always going to be a guy that people talk about as far as like where his caliber of quarterback is, and it's above average, and that's good enough for him. He's also got a big ass family and living life, and I think Herbert is just the second coming of Philip Rivers. I think that organization just trickles through these guys who could throw 35, 4,000 yards. But what happens when it's time to win games and really get your team to that next level?
Vidal is not LT. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-mm.
He's good. I like the kid. All right. Chain link brings us our game of the week, where you can hop on chainlink.st. Make sure you pick the winner of Steelers and Bears. Make sure you drop your winner in the chat here as well. And Sean, we have a new little initiative. We need everybody to follow Club 602 on Facebook. And the reason for that is that some people don't do YouTube, and we need to get our follower count up on Facebook to dual cast our live stream over there. So facebook.com/club602, drop us a follow. I don't care if you like anything over there. We only mirror post, but we have had requests for the video stream. So we need to get our follower count up a little bit there. But our game of the week this week is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chicago Bears. This is somehow a battle of two first-place teams, and I'm really excited for this one. There's one little wrinkle caveat. What time is it? We got about 30 minutes before we know. Will Aaron Rodgers play in this game, Sean?
He better play in this game. I am so sick of Aaron Rodgers. Every single week, it's like, is he going to come out and be the Aaron Rodgers that the NFL, voted MVP, or is he going to come out and just be a stinker? Also, I mean, they use Warren a lot at running back. Like, he is a fucking workhorse, and they could really spread the ball around a little bit more and use Gainwell in that game, in that run game, to kind of give him a little bit of more of a break. They got decent receivers. I don't know. I just feel like Pittsburgh is a team where every single week I'm just waiting to see which part of the ball they're going to perform on. Sometimes the defense plays well, and sometimes it just shits the bed. Sometimes the offense plays well. And it's just, I think the Bears this year feel like a much more well put together team. They feel a little more polished. Caleb Williams is finally coming into his own. He's making good decisions with the ball, things that we didn't see in the first season. Obviously, he feels much more comfortable with the play call. Swift is doing what he needs to do in the backfield and at least help him keep the drives alive. Not a perennial, not a 100-yard back every week by any means, but still a guy who's helping the team when he needs to. And the receiver course not bad. I mean, when we originally saw Rome and DJ Moore coming together on that team, we're like, okay, these guys could finally get it, and now they're seeming to get that together. So I like what the Bears have right now. I definitely, weirdly enough, did not expect them to go from bottom to the top of the division in one season. But that's what happens when you're coached better, and when you start to really get a feel for how your offense clicks and your defense is performing at a much higher level than you expected. And so I think for the Bears, they are in the driver's seats of their own destiny. They just have to play tough football today, realistically. And Pittsburgh, on the other hand, is streaking in the wrong direction. A loss here and the Ravens win, and suddenly it's a very big collapse for them for this season.
And we had called that out earlier. It's like, hey, as soon as Lamar comes back, this is really their division to lose. I really want to see Aaron Rodgers play in this game, and I'll call myself out. The reason for that is because I want him to tarnish his legacy. The whole Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears thing, when the Bears have been one of the worst managed franchises in the history of the sport for his entire career, it's fair, right? He beats them. He beat the crap out of the Bears. But it had more to do with situation, I think, than Aaron Rodgers. You and I have talked a lot about how the Packers for the last 30 years have been kind of plug and play at quarterback. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is anything special. Yes, he's got a ring. Yes, he puts up stats. I don't want to hear about it, Aaron Rodgers people. I hope he plays this game, and I hope he looks sharp, and I hope the Bears win anyway. The Bears secondary is a little questionable. I think questionable is a great word, because I think every single corner and safety is questionable. But that's been the whole season. They've played this way the whole year. They look good. They're executing as a unit, as a team. No great individual performances on defense, but they're playing as a team. It's a team sport. You win and lose as a team. I'm really, really impressed with the Bears' offense. I think the evolution of the young players and really solid line play is combining here, and this is what Caleb Williams needed. He is still game manager-y, but that's okay. You can win football games like that. You alluded to Swift, who's putting up good numbers even as he ages here, and he's worked through some injury stuff too. But even in the time he's missed, it's kind of next man up for the Bears. So that's what I really want to see here is the Bears have been winning as a team on both sides of the ball. And on the other side, it's the Aaron Rodgers show. DK is a hell of a player. The running backs are good, but we don't talk about any of them because Aaron Rodgers is the personality that he is. So what I really want to see out of today is the Bears team beating the player Aaron Rodgers.
I like that. I like that. Honestly, Caleb Williams doesn't need to be anything more than a game manager realistically. Take care of the ball, and allow your team to settle in, allow them to control much more of the game clock, and you'll give your team the most opportunity to win. I mean, think about the last Bears quarterback to actually do anything, make a Super Bowl. Yes, obviously they had an incredible defense and a special teams like the NFL hadn't really seen before. But Rex Grossman,
Man,
like,
Kyle Orton is the reason they got to that Super Bowl. And if he plays that Super Bowl, they have rings.
say what you will, but Rex Grossman, but Grossman that season was their guy, and he was the guy for the season for most of that season. And I will say that he was not a phenomenal quarterback by any means. He wasn't a top tier quarterback by any means, but he was able to keep them in games enough to be able to give them a chance to win. And that's really what we're asking from Caleb Williams. Take care of the ball, no stupid turnovers. Throw it away when you need to, get the scrambles and get the yards and get down so you're not taking big hits, and just make sure that you give your team the best opportunity to score points in the NFL. This new NFL is hilarious because kickers have, free reign to kick from anywhere on the damn field. And so we're seeing a lot more of these long kicks. And so if you give Santos a little bit of time, give him enough space, give him the opportunity to score when you need to, and take the points instead of playing stupid football, and then you give your team the best chance to win a game. So I like the Bears in this game. I like the Bears at home. I think it's going to be a tough game for Pittsburgh, and I'm excited for them to be really what my buddy Kendall was hoping for.
Is it reasonable to think that this game manager version of Justin Fields can take the Bears deep in the playoffs, or is it too early in the evolution? Does he need to be able to do more?
Williams, I think that he's going to definitely need to do more to get them deep into the playoffs. I think that as a team right now, they're playing good enough football to beat some of these other mid-tier teams realistically, but him being a game manager is not going to help him beat the Eagles defense. Their defensive line is going to fucking destroy them in their rotation if he's just going to be a game manager. He's going to have to make some plays down the field to be able to keep up with teams like that. You've got other teams that have really nice defensive lines, teams that have better secondaries, teams that quarterbacks are used to the pressure. And I just don't see, let's be honest, it's not like Caleb Williams in college had to deal with this, the playoff pressure. He had a good season and then he had a not so great season, and he already had the pedigree after the one good season for people to be all up on his ass. So it's not like he was a national championship contender type guy, where we were like, okay, this guy's really going to be the one. He had all the pedigree, and we really gave him a rubber stamp for the NFL and said that he was NFL ready early on. So I like this. I like what I'm seeing from him. But you look at a guy like, and again, I want to bring him up, but you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts, who has been through the mud and being called a game manager and being scrutinized left and right, and you see how he comes on the field each week, and no matter what happens with his team on defense, he is always expected to be the leader of that offense. Williams I don't see that necessarily putting the world on his shoulders just yet. Like, I don't see him feeling like he has all of the pieces together to be able to make deep playoff run at this point in his career. But that's not saying that he won't be able to. Just give him a couple of years and really let him get comfortable in this offense, get comfortable with his play calling, get comfortable with his defense. And I think that they definitely have the opportunity to be a really good team in this division for some years to come.
I've got a rant and I've got some analysis. I know you're on the other side of this rant. Which one do you want?
Mm-hmm. Oh, give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Okay. Quarterbacks shouldn't automatically be captains. It's preposterous. It's stupid. If Caleb Williams is not the leader in there, He shouldn't be a captain. The players vote for it, and I feel like you have to vote for the quarterback. JJ McCarthy is a captain. He sucks, and they're losing. I don't believe for a second that the players actually feel empowered to select their captains, because there would be a team in the NFL, and I don't know which one it is, but there would be a team where their stupid quarterback, who everyone hates, is not the captain. Just
You're
get
not
rid of the
wrong.
captains. No more captains matches.
All right, here I get what you're saying, but here's where there's a little bit of there's a little bit of nuance to it. Remember, there's like 4 different captains. It's not like there's just one guy who's a captain. Your quarterback should be the captain of your team, but if you're JJ McCarthy, he's a 1-star captain. He's your lowest tier captain. He's the guy
That's,
who's in,
but
and
that's
that's
not how the
okay.
stars work. That's not how the stars work.
Oh, how do the stars work?
It's service time.
Oh,
You get 1 star for every year, and then the full gold patch is like your 5th year.
well, I mean, if you're JJ McCarthy, is it not your first year? Wouldn't he be a 1-star captain? In which case, he would still not be the guy that I'm relying upon for my pregame. Likewise, Jameis Winston could be my captain every year,
Like,
every game because of
if
his.
Winston had the captain patch instead of Dart, I would believe that the players actually voted for their captain, because Dart wasn't even the starter. Like, this is bullshit. It's bullshit, and I hate it. All right, the Bears.
Sorry,
Bears are obviously in first place. Win your games, right? All that matters is winning. But you lose to JJ McCarthy week 1. You get crushed by what now looks like not a great Lions team. Beat the Cowboys, which maybe that's good. We're not entirely sure.
It's always good to beat the Cowboys.
Yeah. Barely beat the Raiders. Barely beat Marcus Mariota coming off your bye week. Beat the Saints with Spencer Rattler, who's garbage. You lose to the backup quarterback in Baltimore. You beat Cincinnati. You beat Dart. You beat JJ McCarthy. I don't see a game there. Playing devil's advocate, I have the Bears winning this game against the Steelers today. But playing devil's advocate, even give them this game against the Steelers. Philly, Green Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay, San Francisco to close out the year with Detroit in week 18. Is it possible, outside of that Cleveland game, that this is the best stretch in the Bears' whole schedule, and that they've done nothing to prove they can win games against playoff caliber teams?
Well, they really haven't had to do it. I mean, realistically, you open up the season against 2 divisional teams, and so honestly, those games are always going to be more tightly contested games. And then we look back at that Ravens loss, and I think they just kind of maybe looked past the Ravens. It happens sometimes, especially with no Lamar. Teams just kind of take a back seat and really think that they're in a coast. And don't get me wrong, like, they picked it up against the Bengals. They obviously realized, hey, look, we have to win these games right now because our backstretch is going to be tough. And so I think that they've realistically done what I would have expected them to do to this point. Did I expect them to beat the Cowboys? Cowboys offense can put up 40 points at any point in any game. So no, I didn't. Did I expect them to beat the Saints? Absolutely, and they did that. If it was the Joe Burrow Bengals, do they win that game? I mean, they did give up 42 points regardless. So, like, are we really giving them that credit there? And then you squeak past the Vikings again, divisional game, and you lost the first of that doubleheader. So it's kind of tough. Of those 2 games, so it's kind of tough on that one. They're closing out the season is going to be very, very difficult for them. I think that they're going to have to do a lot more than what they've done against some of these weaker teams in the NFL. You're absolutely correct. They also have they're playing against much better defenses closing out the season, like every one of these teams minus the Browns. And even with the Browns, I mean, Garrett can absolutely feast on, if he really gets going. That's not going to be necessarily an easy game. The offensive line has done better, but is it going to hold up to arguably the best defensive player in the NFL on that line? Guy who just is eating up sacks might get the sack record this year. So, I mean, you never really know. They definitely have to keep winning games. And they, in my opinion, definitely have one of the hardest back stretches in the NFL coming up. So, I mean, it's it's what you play the game for every week. You gotta win the games that you can win and win the games that are 50-50 shots. Win games that people aren't expecting. That's the testament of a good team.
Perfect weather in Chicago today. 3-point favorites at home are the Bears. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers playing or not playing is the big pivot point here, but Rudolph's not awful. Is the nicest thing I'll say for the rest of the day about that. Yeah, I got the Bears. I think the Bears cover here. I like Caleb to do a little more than what we've seen. Maybe give me 250 passing yards, like Rome's score. But give me the Bears to win.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
All right. Huge slate. Let's start with the big boy here. Well, is it the big boy? You tell me, Sean. Colts Chiefs. Obviously, a big game for the Colts to stay ahead of the Bills here in the AFC. Well, I guess stay ahead of the Patriots. It's not the Bills anymore.
Yeah,
And
Bills
then,
are Bills.
is this a must-win for the Chiefs?
I think it's a must win for both. It's a must win for both
Okay.
teams. And I think that it's a must win for both teams because if you are the Chiefs and you pull this game out, first off, every game for the Chiefs is a must win. They have to try to figure out how to catch up to Denver. They have to try to figure out whatever they need to do to be able to potentially make the playoffs. People talking about the dynasty of the Chiefs being over. And until we get to the point where they are officially eliminated from the playoffs, none of the rest of the shit matters. Like you really have to win each game as they come up. If you're the Chiefs, if you're the Colts, absolutely, you need to keep pace. You need to make sure that you give yourself the softest playoff picture possible because you don't want to come in and play against any streaky team. You don't want to have to play a streaky Bills. You don't want to have to play a streaky Chiefs. You want to have to play one of the streaky Ravens team, like a team that's been in the playoffs. Daniel Jones. Don't get me wrong. He obviously had that one playoff run with the Giants that was more than what we expected from him. But other than that, it's like, what are the Colts going to be when they get to the playoffs? I think honestly, they got the best. They got the best option in having Carly Ursay on that sideline. She seems so invested in this team and seems like she really, really, really is going to show them what true modern ownership looks like. So I'm actually excited for the Colts. But this game is a must-win for both organizations, and I think it's a much more of a win for the Chiefs. They have to win every game out here to really give themselves a shot to make the playoffs here.
Yeah, they're 4.5 games back at the Broncos. They're 2 games back at the Chargers. I mean, it's getting dire, right? It's getting real close here. And if I'm the Colts, you beat the Chiefs here, and whatever else happens down the stretch for you, like maybe the Chargers get in, right? And then even if you have a collapse, maybe you get to go across the country and play in a dome instead of playing all these cold weather teams in the playoffs. I think the Colts are the better team here. Obviously, they have the best running back in the league, arguably. Kansas City is a 3.5-point favorite in this game. And I think that kind of speaks to Vegas more than anything. I think that they're hoping public money comes in on the Chiefs and then the Colts win. But if you look at strengths, the Chiefs match up well against the Colts. We saw that the Broncos' offense is similar-ish. It's not a great proxy, but I mean the Chiefs haven't really been blown out at all this year. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. I think he could put a game together at any moment. So the question is, which version of the Chiefs defense shows up, the one that's really good or the one that's just good enough? Because if the just good enough defense shows up, the Colts are going to score 30 points on them, and I don't know if the offense for the Chiefs has 30 points left in the bag here.
Yeah, they're really not a high scoring team, and they haven't been for a few seasons. They really have been relying on their defense to do all the heavy lifting. And you're really, really seeing that. I mean, they barely, besides the Ravens game, they've had a couple of games where they scored pretty okay, but it's they're relying on their defense to play really well. And I think that coming down the stretch, they don't have the easiest schedule. They got some pretty winnable games here, but they're going to have to win out here, and Mahomes is going to have to do Mahomes-esque things. I think the one thing that we haven't seen, though, the Chiefs are going to have to deal with Jonathan Taylor. They're going to have to deal with the best running back in the NFL, the best running game in the NFL. And that is going to force them to be really stack the box. So it gives Daniel Jones an opportunity to get some one-on-one coverage on his receivers. And if he can put the ball in some good places, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think Pierce and Pittman are too bad, are two bad receivers by any means. I think they both have the opportunity to really eat here on a single coverage secondary. Because if you don't, Jonathan Taylor's going to eat you up. I mean, the man is on pace right now for a hell of a season at a running back. If he has a couple of really good games here, he could break the touchdown record. And so, I mean, if you are a Colts fan, you're really liking what you're seeing, the product you guys have put on the field. This will be a testament to whether or not your team can actually play against good defenses. Realistically, they have not necessarily won against the best defenses. I mean, they started off Kansas City. They're not playing very well against some of the better defenses in the NFL, and so I think really the offense is going to be the testament for both teams. Chiefs are going to have to get some run game going. Mahomes is going to have to play tough, and the Colts are going to have to stick to their game plan and really grind away if they have the opportunity to do so. If not, they're going to have one-on-one coverage on the back end. They're going to have to make the Chiefs pay for it.
Seahawks, Titans. My only real note on this game is that Kenneth Walker is questionable. We've talked a lot about their run game approach. I don't think it matters if he's out. The charred bonnet will step right in. I don't think they'll have any trouble with really, really bad Titans team.
Yeah, Titans defense is trash. You're going to watch JSN eat today. And then, yeah, you're absolutely correct. The running back game right there is basically neck and neck between the two of those guys. So it really isn't a drop off there. Having both, it definitely allows you to keep them fresh. We've seen a lot of injuries in that backfield. And so we definitely want to make sure that they stay fresh. But I mean, Darnold's playing good football. Their receiver core is solid. They play strong, and they're playing against a Titans team that just has not put anything together. They are the worst team in football right now, and I'm a Raiders fan. That's saying a lot. So they're not putting a good product on the field right now, and at least they're playing at home, so they get their own fans to watch them lose. I don't know if you're a Titans fan. Have fun.
I don't think Kate can. I don't think our friend Kate can even give away her season tickets at this point.
I'll fly in just for a game. Why not? If
you might talk to her, because my understanding is that nah.
I heard they got some good drinks over there. Good drinks, good music.
You all be down Broadway. Vikings and Packers. Packers 6.5-point home favorites here. Vikings fans,
you get no respect at all.
I was right. I continue to be right. Y'all can be mad if you want to be mad. JJ still in my starting lineup for my interception league today because Packers going to get him twice. He's awful. The Vikings, I don't know what you do from here. I don't know how much you have to see before you decide JJ ain't it.
I mean, you draft the kid this high. He goes out his first season. But he comes back. He's injured. He's battling injuries again. I'm not saying they shouldn't have, but you gotta give him a chance to develop a little bit. All right. I really think you got to give him a chance to develop a little bit. I am definitely not a big JJ McCarthy fan. I think that he definitely has gotten a lot more hype for being a Michigan quarterback and being, a winner, if you will, and in a lot different situations. He was absolutely carried in many of these situations. And they talked about his record in high school, his record in college, and coming into the NFL. And I'm like, this is a wake up call, dude. This is not going to be where, you're playing in a powerhouse division and everybody just comes and plays with you, and you are expected to just kind of really game manage. You have to win in the NFL. You have to win in these games. And I just don't see that he's got it yet. He definitely needs more development. Realistically, having Jones back in the lineup helps the team. Their defense is still better than a lot of the other teams in the NFL. But I will say that overall, he just isn't there yet, and that's okay. I'm seeing what I saw in Caleb Williams the first season. I'm seeing youth, I'm seeing inexperience, and I'm seeing a guy who really just needs a little bit more time to kind of get a feel for himself, get a feel for his receiver core. I think Addison's really, really solid up there. JJ, they got a good receiver core. I think that if he can just get himself to be a little bit more polished, give himself really some more time to feel out his receivers and understand their route running abilities and get the ball to where it needs to be. Don't take so many hits. I think he will, be a guy who can be successful in this offense.
I don't want to waste too much time on JJ, but I know one of the big arguments the Vikings fans were making was, he's under pressure all the time. He's getting sacked all the time. No sacks against the Bears. 16 for 32 for 150 yards, touchdown, 2 picks. I think that's who JJ is.
Well, I mean, if your offensive line isn't great, and we know that their offensive line isn't great, you start to see a lot of forced errors. And if you are the Bears in that game, if your front four is getting enough pressure, even if you don't get sacks, I mean, QB hurries, QB pressures, you start to see your quarterback get a little antsy in the pocket, in that backfield, and he starts letting balls out too early. He starts holding on to balls a little too late. And so you just see the inexperience of a guy who has not had enough time to really understand what he has going for his offense. So I think he's got to stay off his back this week, definitely. I think he's got to understand that he's got to sit in the pocket, but he also has to understand when it's time to, get out and let go of the ball. And he's really got to feel out his receivers. I just don't think he's there yet. He's got phenomenal talent. I just don't think he's there yet.
My promise to you and to the viewers is I will stop beating a dead horse. I will not talk shit about JJ McCarthy again until he has a game where he completes 56% of passes, and then the next week completes 40% of passes again. That's my commitment right now. Jets and Ravens. Ravens are a 13.5 point favorite here. Sean, give me the way the Jets can win this game.
Force Lamar to make mistakes. I mean, punch the ball out. Obviously, there's a lot of confidence that the Ravens are playing with right now, and that can play to your benefit. It also can be an Achilles heel for you. And I think that we've seen when the Ravens make errors themselves, when they shoot themselves in the foot, is when they tend to be the more vulnerable team. And so, if you're the Jets, your special teams gets up. You force the Ravens to make mistakes. You force Lamar Jackson to throw some balls into some tighter coverages. You give him some fits in that backfield and make him. I know he's absolutely phenomenal scrambling, but if you can keep him contained a little bit more and force him to kind of step up into the pocket and collapse on him, then that's your best bet. But otherwise, it could be a rough week for the Jets this week. So yeah, I'm not optimistic for him, especially Ravens playing at home. I'm expecting this to be a good game for the Ravens offense. Hell, I need it to be a good game because Lamar Jackson's been my fantasy quarterback and he has not done well for me the last couple of weeks, even though they've won games. But again, NFL, it's about winning games, and I don't think Lamar really cares more about the stats than he does about the W. So.
Inactives will start rolling in about 5 minutes. Giants, Lions, exact same line here, 13.5 Lions. I think it's going to be Winston again, is what it sounds like, but not official yet, I don't believe. What's up with the Lions? Could they lose this game?
The Lions could lose this game because they're a super inconsistent team as well. The Lions, to me, are very much the Bills. As far as they play up to good competition and play down to bad competition. I think that their offense struggles at times where it shouldn't. I think that for all of the surprise plays, all of the twists and turns that you get, the excitement of a team like the Lions, when they're not clicking, they are not clicking. And I think that they're a team that could absolutely lose games that they shouldn't lose. And this is a game that they should not lose against a unpolished Giants team but it should be a fun game. It's a home game too. Like they have to eat here. We've got to see Hutchinson in that backfield. We've got to see Gibbs doing what he needs to do to escape. And we've got to see a clean game from Goff. If we can see those three elements, I mean, 2 to 3 elements there, and you've got to win for the Lions here.
Moving down the board here, Patriots, Bengals. This feels like just business as usual. This is a really good Patriots team. I think they just need to take care of business. We know that the Bengals can score in bunches with seemingly anyone at quarterback. But what I want to see is the Patriots just implement your game plan, do your job. It really doesn't matter to me if they win by 3 or 30. I just need to see a Patriots win here. I think that they are trending toward good systemic growth. They're getting better across the board. So I just want to see those players continue to develop for the Patriots.
I mean, we still don't have the Joe Burrow return yet. We're still going to see Flack Daddy up there, and I think that the biggest issue today is going to be no Jamar Chase. It definitely hampers your team's ability to win when you remove one of the best wide receivers in the game.
Sean, tell me, is he injured? Did something happen with Jamar Chase?
He's suspended. Yeah.
So when you said one of the best wide receivers, you meant not from a personal integrity standpoint. You meant like from a stats standpoint.
Say what you will, the man is one of the most talented receivers in the NFL, and I think that removing him from the field incredibly hampers your offense. It makes you a little bit more one-dimensional. Obviously, we like Higgins back there; he is a capable wide receiver. But Yoshi Voss, I think, is the number 3, and so you really start to come down from that mountain of wide receiver skill set. And Chase Brown's solid, but I don't know if he can carry the offense if it has to get really one-dimensional. And I think the Patriots defense is just too good to allow that to happen. I also think that Drake May is absolutely killing it right now, and I think that he will torch this Bengals defense, who is in many instances been one of the worst defenses in the NFL. We've seen that over the last couple of years. So I like the Patriots to win here, but any given Sunday, we never really know what's going to happen in the NFL. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun game to watch, and we can see that if the Patriots get up early, it'll be a slaughter, and that'll be more interesting.
And what might be their last chance this year to win an NFL football game? The Cleveland Browns go to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Do you even want the Raiders to win this game, or do you want to see player development in a loss?
I want to see the Raiders win every game. I already know what the Raiders are missing. I know what they're missing. For all of the bad performances that they've had, I mean, the biggest thing for me is to see them put up a good game. They have had games where they have not shown that they can move the ball down the field. The wide receivers aren't catching the ball that Geno's throwing. Geno's throwing the ball to every which person that isn't a wide receiver. You're watching Genti just kind of get stifled in the backfield, and it just looks very weak as a team. I mean, I think that the strength of the Raiders team is going to come in the offseason when they decide to go out there and get some big body receivers and to work on their offensive line. Honestly, if they could do those two things, this offense drastically changes. I've talked about this the last couple of weeks. I won't use my choice words that I've used to describe their receivers the last couple of weeks, but I think that they really need some bigger body receivers. I think the beauty of having Brock Bowers is that he is a big body receiver. He's a guy, and so if they can go out there and they can find some size on the receiver court and work on that offensive line, I think that you give Geno the tools that he needs to be successful as a quarterback. I'd love to see that Seattle Geno come back and play well for the Raiders. I just don't see it with the pieces that they have right now. I think that if Geno was in Seattle right now, he'd be in the exact same situation as Sam Darnold.
I think that's fair. I mean, I walked back my statements about them being knockoff Seahawks, but like Geno, I still think is capable of running that offense. Aaron Rodgers is Inactive. I mean, Mason Rudolph today
Oh,
for the Steelers.
yeah, that's gonna leave a mark. That's gonna change a lot of people's bets.
He kept talking shit all week.
I think he's a cancer. I think he's a poison to the NFL. I just think that every organization that he goes to, he just makes the organization worse.
All right, yeah. So inactives coming in. Like I said, the other big one I was watching for was Kenneth Walker, but not a big thing there.
Mhm.
Let's see here. So we got the Jaguars and the Cardinals. Jags are 2.5-point road favorites, and I'm honestly not sure why that line is so short.
Me
I
either,
feel
dude.
like the Jaguars, I give a lot of shit to. They are way better than the Cardinals are.
I agree with that. And inactive DeMarcado doesn't help either. Then now you're down to your third string running back. Like, what are we doing here? Your second string quarterback. You know, I love McBride as a tight end, but you can't win games with just one guy on your offensive side. Like it's not possible. And I think that the Jaguars defense is significantly better than people are giving them credit for in this game. It is a home game for the Cardinals, but it doesn't change anything. It's not like they're playing in a dome. It's not like the weather's going to be a factor, especially for a warm weather team. I think Etienne's good enough of a running back to be able to do what he needs to do and keep the ball moving down the field. I think Trevor Lawrence just has to game manage today. And unless we see something crazy happening with special teams, it should be the Jags game to win.
For those who care, Aaron Rodgers is not out. He is inactive. He will suit up as the emergency third quarterback. No Josh Jacobs today. Kenneth Walker is in. Eagles Cowboys, Sean, in a game that I think means a lot more for the Cowboys, but the way Philly's been playing the last few weeks, at the risk of jinxing them, I'm ready to say that it is impossible for the Eagles to lose this game. The defense looks like they are firing on all cylinders. The offense is smooth. AJ Brown has even stopped complaining. I think the Eagles win here. I think the Eagles win big, and that should just about end the season for the boys.
I definitely think the Eagles are going to win this game. The Cowboys, the season was already over. They were cooked once they got that tie. It really comes down to how well the offense executed, and because people are just going to continue to have this discussion about whether or not Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback, who can replace Jalen Hurts, how can they fill in, and what could they do better than he does, and at the end of the day, the man wins games, right? We can talk about the Eagles' inability in the last couple of weeks, and I will say this: we'll talk about their inability in the last couple of weeks to really put points on the board. But if you hold two divisional teams in the Packers and the Lions, who are supposed to have decent defenses, but either really good offense or whatever the case is, you hold both these teams to a combined 16 points. Need I say a combined 16 points? Like you are in some different territory right now. Their defense is ridiculous. That defensive line, anchored by Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, in the middle of those two, they are fast, they are strong, and then their rotation, all the pass rushers, it's like, what do? You bolster up the secondary with two more guys, and suddenly you have a rotation that can allow for your offense to be god awful. Now, I will say this: when their offense decides it's going to click, which today could be that day because the Cowboys secondary is what? Swiss cheese.
Swiss
It is.
cheese.
It is. It is holy moly, oly. It is bad. And so, Diggs shouldn't be in the NFL. Like, I'm sorry, he's just not. He's not very good in the secondary. And when you look at the Eagles, what they actually have on offense, the weapons that they could very much put up 40 points on these Cowboys team and really show that they are that class in the NFC. The defense is electric. Let's see if the offense can put the points back up and get back to where they were last year, where they were blowing teams out in a divisional game. I mean, Cowboys are at home, so obviously they're going to come in as hype as they possibly can. This is their last chance to actually look like they're a mediocre team at best. Realistically, they would have to win out. They would have to win out to even potentially make the playoffs. I don't see it happening. So I'm going to take the Eagles here, and I'm going to take the Eagles at I'm going to say I'll take a 7-point
Yeah, I don't have
spread.
a problem with that. Falcons Saints. I think the Falcons season is pretty much over.
It's over for both of these
I
teams.
mean, the entire offense, other than Bijan, is pretty much out. I actually like the Saints to win this game. I don't know how much run this will get for me as far as viewership today, but obviously the Falcons are playing for nothing, and there's no one playing. Suitable backup quarterback playing in this game, but I don't have a whole lot of interest in this one.
Yeah, me either. I mean, realistically, it's like, who are we watching? We're watching two shells of teams. We're watching one team who has been inadequate and also injury prone, and we're watching another team who's been injury prone. So I got nothing on it. It's a divisional game. It's a divisional game.
Sunday night football, Bucks and Rams. This one has massive playoff implications. Well, I guess the Sunday night game and the Monday night game are the two same divisions going head to head, and I don't know. We have seen the Bucks look very susceptible at times this season, and I think at their best, the Rams are still the better team. I like the Rams here, but obviously the Bucks have a lot to play for. They need to stay ahead of the Carolina Panthers, if my notes are correct.
You are absolutely correct, sir. And it is the funniest, the funniest stories of this season. I told you about this. What I say about the Panthers, man. I said that they were weirdly going to be a fun team to watch this season, and they have the opportunity to beat San Francisco this week. I mean, we know San Francisco is a very Swiss Army knife team. They can kind of throw people in anywhere and still be able to play good football. But I would love to see the Panthers get a win here. I'd love to see the Bucks take an L here to the Rams. We know the Rams right now are the Super Bowl caliber team. They're firing on offense. They're firing on defense. You know, Stafford's having an MVP caliber season right now. The receiver core looks really good. The run game is comparable to the best in the NFL. You can't sleep on it. And so I think it's gonna be a really tough uphill battle, especially at home. For the Bucks to be playing against the Rams this week. I would love to see the Panthers sneak in to the divisional lead here. That would be one of the highlights of this NFL season is for Rick to give Bryce Young all the slack, and we look at this team and suddenly they're a playoff caliber team. Imagine that. Imagine the beginning of the season, end of last year, you have a coma, you wake up, and the Colts and the Panthers are playoff teams, and the Chiefs aren't even making it. The Bills are on the outside looking in potentially. Like, what is happening to the NFL?
And it happens. I mean, this league has more parity than any league in American sports. I mean, the NFL has mastered our good teams are the only ones that win, but anyone can go to the playoffs kind of vibe. And it's like, yeah, if you told me the Panthers are in the NFC Championship game, I'd be baffled.
I would be baffled. I would be fucking lost.
But like, yeah, okay, I can walk you there. I can walk you through the scenario that gets the Panthers in the NFC Championship game, and it's beating the Niners on Monday Night Football.
No, get the fuck out of here. If the Panthers made the NFC Championship game, you would have to be, bro. You'd have to be walking on water. You would have to be you'd be fucking Jesus incarnate to believe that the Panthers beat out the Eagles, the Packers, the Lions,
beat the Eagles, right? Say the Eagles are there. Okay. The Bears win the North. The Panthers win the South. The 49ers win the West. They've already beaten the 49ers in prime time in this scenario, right? This Monday Night Football game. They pull the Bears at home. They beat the Bears. I mean, there's a path. It's not super likely.
There is a path, I guess.
There's a path.
There's an eightfold path.
I don't think it's
We're on fold number 7.
Christian McCaffrey is going to score 4 touchdowns on Monday Night Football, and the Panthers are going to get shit canned. But
I mean, revenge game. You know what it is.
Yeah, revenge game. I could see it. If you had told me even 3 weeks ago the Panthers were a playoff team, I would have balked at it.
It's just a fun football season.
Half game back.
It's a fun season, man. I'm excited about it. It's so weird now. I mean, you look at these teams, and I heard earlier on these arguments about the Raiders being the best team in the AFC West. You look at some of these other divisions, and
Who said that?
oh, there were a few analysts who got really really hype about Geno coming in and talked about the Raiders being a team to watch in the AFC West. It was a weird take. I know, I know. I didn't see the polish there. You can't just throw in a decent quarterback and assume that a team is going to change all of a sudden. But at the end of the day, I think that the Panthers are going to be a fun team to continue to watch this season. And even if they don't make the playoffs, they'll play some spoiler here or there, and really show you that they have the opportunity next year to put some pieces together to make another run. Realistically, the Panthers are a piece or two away from being the Patriots. They're a piece or two away from being the Patriots, where you don't expect the team to be that good, and then they come out and they show you. Panthers are a piece or two away from being the Colts, where you don't expect the team to be that good, and then they kind of start to click in the right moments. And so, I mean, yeah, that's the beauty of the NFL, is not necessarily, an organization can definitely flip. It doesn't happen overnight, but you watch the progression and you watch how well they play with each other. You watch the energy in the sideline, you watch the energy in the locker room, and you start to see a camaraderie that happens with these guys. And it comes from them taking the ownership, accountability, responsibility of their jobs on the field and doing what they need to do. So I think that it's been a fun season. We're talking about, the Texans swapping quarterbacks, and suddenly they're a playoff caliber team again. We're talking about the Panthers again. We're confused about what's happening with the Chiefs. We're watching the Ravens make a comeback and potentially take down Pittsburgh in that division. It gives me hope every single week to watch football.
It's the best, man. Nothing like the NFL.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
This has been Yelling and Screaming. Make sure you make your Game of the Week pick not only in our comment section, but also on Chainlink and Facebook.com/Club602. Drop us a follow there so that we can broadcast to where everyone wants to see us.
Also, hit us up on Instagram @KSFlash, @King of Lakemore. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff going on with Club 602. We want to make sure we get the bets out with Chainlink, get the bets out with Phantom Odds. We really love seeing you guys. We love hearing you guys, and we are excited to continue to give you this analysis every week. It's been a pleasure, and I hope we continue to get to do it.
We'll see you guys next Sunday. Check your lineups. Lots of inactives, lots of stuff going on out there, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Take care. Peace.